This episode of Film Riot is brought to you by Freshbooks. They fresh to death. Welcome to Film Riot Mondays, round 3. Just is going to try to make me laugh, and I will not laugh. Ready, go.
Guatemala.
What? At least it wasn't bathroom humor this time. First question, how did you fund Proximity and Tell? Both of them were funded by my wallet. I paid for it myself. It was just a matter of saving the money until we could do it. Proximity was a last minute thing, but that was really cheap. What did we spend on Proximity? Was it like 300 bucks?
Something like that.
It was around, and it was all just food and transportation. The props were donated. All the actors, donated their time. The location was free. The gear was loaned to us by friends. So it was pretty easy on that one. But even before Film Riot, it was always a matter of me working as much as I possibly could, save all the money I possibly can so I could make the projects that I wanted to because I believed in it and I believed in what I was doing. And when it comes down to filmmaking, at some point you have to invest in yourself. Can you and Josh hug each other? Yeah. I start film school in less than a month. Any advice before I start? I would give the same advice that I give to everyone when I'm asked that question, and that's how I went about film school. It was just to put 100% of myself into absolutely everything I did. Even if it was an avenue that I didn't want to do, I would still put absolutely every bit of me into it and try to be the best one doing it within the group. One thing that drove me most crazy that I just couldn't understand was the people that would go out drinking or go out partying or put their time into other things when we were only here for a small period of time to take advantage of these great resources and pools of knowledge, and they would go out and do those things when we have a test the next day or leave the lab early. Just pour every ounce of you into your time there. Try to drain the well of knowledge as much as you can and just soak yourself in it. So basically what I'm saying is just work your butt off. Pretty much. Why was Film Riot started and what did it take to get it up and running? We've talked about this a bunch of times, so I'm gonna make it brief. Film Riot was started just because I wanted to fill a gap that I felt there was at the time. At the time, there was just Indie Mogul out there, and they really did props, not really filmmaking to the extent that we did it. And I was getting questions from frustrated friends who didn't have money or resources to go to film school, and it was really hard to find knowledge that was out there. So that's kind of why we started it. Plus, I thought the idea of letting people watch us on our journey into being filmmakers could be something that would hopefully inspire people to do it as well and teach people to avoid pit stops along the way. Because I mean, when we started, even now, I mean, we don't know everything. We're still learning as we go, but you guys are learning along with us. And I think that's one of the coolest things about Film Riot, because we really started very, very amateur with a bit of knowledge, but very, very amateur. And we've grown over time, and you guys have grown with us, and you've watched us make mistakes. You guys watched us succeed. I think that's really, really cool, and it's going to continue that way. And that was always a thought process, something that always excited me about it. Just being able to share in that way is really cool. Getting it started was we just did it. I just started doing it. I grabbed a camera and I started making episodes of something called Making the Film before Film Riot, and then it turned into Film Riot. So that answers your question in a long-winded and overly excited way. Practical or CG? Both. I love both. I adore both. And I think they work best when they're paired together. When it's just practical, a lot of times it breaks and it kind of looks like, oh, that's a puppet. And when it's just CG, sometimes it can look a little video game-ish. But when they're combined together, it's usually freaking flawless. But I can't stand it when people are like, man, I didn't like that movie. It just looked like a video game. They just freaking transported you into another freaking world that doesn't exist. Like The Hobbit. You're going into some fantasy world to see this crazy imagination that people have slapped together that did not exist before. And sure, it might look a little video gamey, but I don't care. I get to see all this imagination slapped on screen in front of me that I would not have really been able to see in the same way otherwise. So I say, bring it on. Whatever way the filmmaker wants to make his film, I'm all for. I'm not the type of person that's gonna crap on one or the other. I love them both. Of course, sometimes each can be used not so great, but when they're used well, they're both freaking fantastic. What is your favorite scene in Jurassic Park? That is a good and difficult question.
Also relevant since you're wearing a shirt or a hoodie.
Yeah, I'm ashamed. I don't know, man. I mean, the T-Rex paddock scene, I guess, would have to be it. That scene is just, that is one of the greatest scenes of all time. It is so good, but all of it, the whole movie as a whole, that. But the T-Rex paddock scene, Nom, 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 nom. Last question, what makes a horror film truly horrifying? The jump scares or the story? Everything on Film Riot Mondays is my own personal opinion and shouldn't be taken as full fact. That should just be a given, but I'm gonna say it extra here. This is, of course, my own opinion here because what is scary is something that's very subjective. It's not objective facts because what scares you is gonna depend on your experiences in life, what makes you really. I mean, I've been in movies where the person I watched it with thought it was a comedy, didn't think it was even remotely scary, but I thought it was terrifying. But I think it is somewhat universal answer that, of course, it's going to be the story that will truly horrify you. Scary is, yeah, sure, I had a jump scare, but that's kind of cheap. It's, you know, me jumping out behind a wall and saying, boo, you were taken off guard, so you scream. But when you're truly horrified, I think it is that story that takes you there, like The Exorcist, not necessarily just a cat jumping out behind nothing and then a big boom of music, but that slow build of the story to really unnerve you and get you in that place to where you're thinking about it for days. You are an entrepreneur, not an accountant, but the story is always the same. You make your hobby your business, and all of a sudden, you're a business owner. Instead of doing what you love, now you're tracking your time, creating invoices, collecting receipts, and chasing clients for payment. Just stop it. Do what millions of entrepreneurs and small business owners have discovered and start using FreshBooks. I wish I knew about FreshBooks when I was starting out. It could have saved me a lot of headaches. We've received invoices from people using FreshBooks and they look very professional and we're able to pay them online instantly so there's no hassle of mailing checks. With FreshBooks, you can create professional looking invoices, track your time, capture expenses, and get real-time business reports with just a couple of clicks. Plus, you can work anywhere with FreshBooks' amazing mobile apps for your phone and tablet. The sooner you start using FreshBooks, the sooner you can start focusing on your business. Try FreshBooks free for 30 days. Go to getfreshbooks.com and don't forget to enter Film Riot in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Logo. That's it for today, which means it's time for my suggestion of the week. This one is another video game trailer, which is it's not really a trailer, really. It's like a short film.
And it's freaking awesome?
It's freaking awesome. It's for Elder Scrolls. You can find it right here. It is awesome. I just love the way that they visually told this, the way that it escalates throughout the entire thing. You got 3 characters, there's no dialogue, yet you know exactly what's going on, you know the placement of everything. I just really think there's a lot to be taken away from this visually on how to tell a story through those visuals, so definitely check it out. But we will see you guys next week. Until then, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.